the 105th birthday celebration for the League of Women Voters of the U.S. You've now tuned in to the Women Defend Democracy virtual rally. We're here to celebrate over a century of greatness. Let's go. Y'all are getting warmed up and getting out your seats. We have some amazing speakers in store for you. Powerful women from all around the nation speaking about the first 100 days of this administration. We all know there's been a lot going on, and I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to hear what they have to say. If you're ready to hear what they have to say, why don't you drop an "I'm ready" in the chat with all the exclamation marks. I want to see it. I want to see the energy. I think y'all are a little loose now. Want to give a big shout out to the LWVUS CEO and President Celina Stewart and Dianna Wynn joining us. I see you ladies shining.
I worked my whole life for this one. Another one. DJ Khaled.
Shining, yeah. All of this winning, I've been losing my mind. Oh, hold on. Don't try to slow me down. Hold on. Don't try to slow me down. And now to make a fool for it. You gon' need an address when I lose the boy. Ratchet, you a tool, the boy. Mama say I'm tripping, daddy say I'm tripping. Now I'm talking dirty, but my lips so clean. I'ma burn it like a bumper car sticker. Better make it smile when you see that big pull up. Money don't make me happy, and a fella can't make me fancy. We smiling for a whole nother reason. It's all smiles through all 4 seasons. Shining, yeah. All of this winning, I've been losing my mind. Hold on. Don't try to slow me down. Hold on. Don't try to slow me down.
You know, as much as they've tried to stop us, they can't slow us down. Because what? We're going to keep on believing. We won't stop believing. All right, coming up, we have Jennifer Howard, president of the LWV New Jersey chapter, Alexa Livingstone, member of the LWV Baltimore chapter, and many more. Stay tuned.
Living in a lonely world, he took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, walking down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people, living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere.
All right. It's about that time. If you're feeling good, put a oh yeah in the chat for me one time. Okay, I see y'all. I love it. But listen, at this time, I think it's appropriate that we take a moment to honor and celebrate our ancestors of the civil rights movement, including none other than the late Representative John Lewis and the incomparable Dr. Deborah Turner. We also can never forget about Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Thank you all so much for your lifetime of service and dedication to our movement.
No wind, no wind, no rain, no rain. Oh, winter's cold. Can't stop me, babe. Oh, babe, baby, baby. If you're my goal. No wind, no wind, no rain, no rain. Can't stop me, babe. If you are.
Okay, if you know the words, let me hear you sing.
No mountain high, no valley low, no river wide, keep me from you. No mountain high, no valley low, no river wide, keep me from you. Ain't no mountain high enough, nothing can keep me from you.
I hope you are as pumped as I am. The energy in here is just amazing already. I'm so excited to be here with you all. So listen, you have about 60 seconds to grab some water, get your notepad, go to the bathroom, do whatever you have to do, because when the speakers come on, I promise you, you won't want to miss it.
Just a little bit, mister, just a little bit. I ain't gonna do you wrong. Why you gone? I ain't gonna do you wrong, 'cause I don't wanna. All I'm asking is for a little respect, just a little bit, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit. I'm about to give it all my money. And all I'm asking in return, honey, is to give me my breakfast when you get home. Just a little bit, just a little bit.
LWVUS family, it is time for the Women Defend Democracy Rally to officially get started. Thank you for letting me just come party with you a little bit. Shout out to all the organizers and shout out to you for being here, ready to make a difference. I'm Tay Powers, and I'll see y'all in the chat.
Sweeter than honey. And guess what? So is my money. All I want you to do for me is give it to me when you get home. Yeah, baby. Whip it to me. Just get going. Now, just a little bit. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. T-F-T-C-T. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. Little rich say. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. Woo! Hey, little bit, little rich say. Just a little bit. I'll get tired. Little bit. Keep on trying. Just a little bit. You're running out of food. Little bit. I ain't lying. Just a little bit. Please, we are home.
Welcome, everybody. How are you? Did you all enjoy that? I love that. We were having our own little dance party on the back end of that. But if you all can hear me, just put in the chat, we hear you. But I just wanted to say welcome to everyone. Welcome to the League of Women Voters birthday rally from locally to nationally, women who defend democracy. I'm Celina Stewart, CEO of the League of Women Voters of the United States. I want to start today with a commemoration of the activists whose shoulders we stand on in this moment. That's such a critical thing. Before I continue, let us take a moment to celebrate the beautiful music performance from Tay Powers. So shout out to Tay, a Houston-based and internationally renowned DJ, musician, producer, recording engineer, the list goes on, who's engineered and whose experience has led her to work with some of the industry's chart-topping artists in pop, hip-hop, and R&B. Her personal motto, "Love Powers All," is a moment she lives by and hoping to inspire the feelings of great vibes and good company in every venue that she steps into. And I think that we felt her do that here, right? I invite you to follow her on Instagram, which we've dropped in the chat. 2025 really marks 50 years since the passing of the Voting Rights Act, a landmark piece of legislation that transformed American democracy. Let's step back and have a little bit of a history lesson. You know, that's kind of how I like things. The Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965 after years, decades of activism from American civil rights leaders, bold advocates like so many of you on this call, on this live stream, and ordinary everyday people and heroes like you and I. Some have called the VRA the single largest gain in the movement for representative democracy, and I agree. Because not all women achieved the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. Black women in particular, Native American, Asian American women, people with disabilities, and those with language access barriers, and so many were still left fighting for their right to vote after 1920. And fight they did. We will be commemorating one of the pivotal moments of that fight next month as we join the Selma Jubilee in Alabama. Hopefully many of you will be joining us for that. If you're not, please check it out. We will be posting things around that as well. This celebration seeks to commemorate and preserve the struggle of those who demonstrated on Bloody Sunday and to demand the right to vote and were brutally beaten for doing so. Their brave act was a critical piece of the movement that culminated into the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and subsequently the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Those were two groundbreaking laws that passed just 1 year apart. With the Voting Rights Act, generations of would-be voters finally achieved the access that they always deserved to participate in this democracy specifically. So let's talk about where we are today, because you know it's a lot going on, y'all, right? There's a lot going on in the world right now. Let's talk about it. Today, we will, oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. Let me just go back a little bit. I want to make sure that we really put a fine point on here today. I want to be clear that the racist rhetoric that we're hearing, the dismantling of equality initiatives, the attacks on voting access and participation that we're seeing play out in the world of politics today are an effort to undo the progress that I just talked about. Specifically, the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, the progressions that we made with that. These efforts are an attempt to shrink the franchise. Our work is to expand. To put that in plain language, these efforts really seek to reduce the number of eligible people who can participate and vote each election cycle, which is critical to our work here at the League. And on a larger scale, these attempts to roll back Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act are nothing more than another way for our government to exert control over the American people. But we will not be controlled. If you agree, drop "We will not be controlled" in the chat. That is why we gather today as one league, as one nation, as one collective. Our brand of the League of Women Voters is larger than just our membership. It is about the communities that we also serve. So again, we will not be controlled. We will fight the erosion of voting rights. We will continue to push for civil rights and voting rights acts, or continue to restore voting rights act to maintain civil rights in this country, and human rights to make sure that we have what we need in our communities. We will hold our elected officials accountable, not only in state legislatures, but all the way up to the White House and Congress. We gather here today to proclaim that we will not be controlled. They will not mute our voices. Today, we will hear from League members across the country about their work to empower voters and defend democracy, which is our very mission here at Play. League members who are fighting to abolish the Electoral College, young League members who are building power among youth voters and young voters, League members fighting for their own state Voting Rights Act, and leaders defending the will of voters in elections across the country, which are still happening in 8 states this year. And we'll lift up the place and power of immigrants in our country and in our democracy. I'm so proud to stand with every one of you and people across the country who believe in the right to vote, believe in equal access and opportunity. And it's a pleasure and a blessing to be here. So thank you all for joining us. And with that, I want to turn it over to our esteemed president, who is also my partner in democracy and one of my favorite human beings, President Dianna Wynn.
Thank you, Celina, and thank you to Tay Powers for that amazing performance and getting us kicked off during this live stream. Hello, League members, and happy League anniversary. I'm excited to join members and activists from across the country to celebrate the League today. 105 years ago, our suffragist founders established our powerful grassroots organization. And over a century later, we build on their legacy of demanding progress, equal rights, and voting access for all. You know, we must never forget the power of our activist roots and the lessons we've learned since our founding in 1920. 105 years later, I'm proud to say that the League is active in all 50 states, as well as in Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we are rooted in over 700 communities across this country, from rural to urban, from the coasts and to the plains. The League of Women Voters is strong, because we're powered by the people. And I hope that you feel that as we gather here today. I know I certainly do, because there is power in our unified voice and in our collective action. You know, League members are community activists, ensuring their communities, their states, and our nation are by the people, for the people, all the people. So today, we commit to building a league as diverse as the electorate we serve. Because diversity, equity, and inclusion, these are not just buzzwords in a political agenda. These are values that we are committed to as a league, values we work to further embed into American democracy. So we commit to standing up for the rights of every American voter, because true representative democracy cannot be achieved until all barriers to participation are removed. Now, in this time of political strife and assaults on democracy, we must remember our purpose, our why. We are committed to passionate, resolute, and collective action in pursuit of a more perfect democracy. That's our why. You know, we all joined the League because deep down, we know that we can accomplish so much when we are unified in service to this common purpose. That's why our grassroots members are able to make such a difference in their communities. And we need more passionate, caring, and energetic individuals to empower voters and defend democracy with us. Membership in the league comes with real opportunities to push for change, to empower voters, and to move that needle closer to a more perfect democracy. You all certainly know this. So today, on our birthday, I ask you to encourage those who you know to join the league. They can go to lwv.org/join to learn more and to join us. And tell them we need them in this fight, because only together can we preserve democracy. There are more challenges to come, but I continue to have hope because of democracy defenders like you. Thank you, and happy birthday to the League of Women Voters. And I'll pass it back to Celina at this point.
Thank you, Dianna. Okay, so we have some really fabulous folks that you may know, and also maybe some new voices. So I wanted to share who is on the call with us, or who is on today. So Jennifer Howard is the president of the League of Women Voters of New Jersey. She has been a member of the League of the Princeton area since 2013 and currently serves on the leadership committee. Jennifer is a practicing OBGYN physician in New York City, also having previously practiced in New Jersey. She received her undergraduate degree from Harvard Radcliffe, her medical school degree from Howard University's College of Medicine, and her master's of public health from Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health. So welcome, Jennifer Howard. Also, we have Alexa Livingstone. She is a 2023 graduate of Hampton University. I won't say the real HU. We're not going to start any mess on this call today. With a major in physics and minor in material science and engineering, and also a member of the League of Baltimore in Maryland. She became acquainted with the League of Women Voters when she was invited to attend their Young Voter Power Initiative conference in New Orleans. Since then, she's gotten involved with initiatives at her local league to educate the young adult demographic on the power of their vote, and it's her hope to work towards a future where we have a government that works for and represents the best interests of this demographic. Welcome, Alexa. And then we have Beth Hendricks, the executive director of the League of Women Voters of Colorado, becoming the state league's first ever ED in 2018 to provide stronger consistency with visibility, partnerships, and membership growth and engagement, as well as fundraising. Beth is a lifelong advocate for equity and justice and has begun marching with the United Farm Workers Movement in Los Angeles she began her marching at age 9. Isn't that pretty impressive? Prior to joining the League of Colorado, Beth directed Denver Sister Cities International, the nonprofit charged by the Denver Mayor's Office with managing Denver's 13 international sister city relationships, all related programming, and has also worked as a program officer for multiple foundations, helping to distribute more than $60 million to nonprofit organizations locally, nationally, and internationally. Welcome, Beth. Jennifer Rubin is the president of the League of Women Voters of North Carolina. She has been a member of the league since 2015 when she joined LWV Orange, Durham, Chatham counties. A North Carolina resident for 30 years, her work experience includes managing public relations, patient advocacy, community affairs, and media relations for the GlaxoSmithKline for more than 17 years. She's also headed her own communications consulting firm where she advised pharmaceutical and healthcare clients. A volunteer for numerous nonprofits and community organizations over the years, she is currently a board member for the Center for Child and Family Health in Durham, a community-based organization that provides support and clinical care for children and families that have undergone trauma. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining us. And last but certainly not least, Nancy Flores, Deputy Director of one of our partners at the National Partnership for New Americans, whose mission is to advance an immigrant equity and inclusion agenda at the state, local, and federal level through policy, advocacy, and service programs that create vast opportunities for immigrant and refugee communities to achieve full civic, social, and economic justice. Nancy oversees the organization's campaigns, communications, operations, and fundraising. While at NPNA, she has led innovative campaigns that have reached millions through NPNA's Democratic Building Strategy, New American Voters, and she has become the organization's driving strategist to recognize and activate naturalized voters as well as essential voting blocks. Previously, Nancy was with the Voices de Frontera. My Spanish is horrible, Nancy. Forgive me. Don't shoot me. Wisconsin's leading immigration rights group and a member organization of NPNA. Nancy is a Los Angeles-born, Wisconsin-raised, and a proud daughter of immigrants from Mexico. Welcome, Nancy. Okay, so I have some questions for you all. I want to start with Jennifer Howard, president out of New Jersey. You have been such a stalwart around building movements and particularly around one person, one vote, our campaign to abolish the Electoral College. Can you tell us a little bit about that work?
Sure. Thank you so much, Celina, and thank you everyone for inviting me and for all of those who are out there listening today. As Celina said, my name is Jennifer Howard, and I've had the distinct honor and true privilege since 2021 of being the president of the League of Women Voters of New Jersey. Today, on our 105th anniversary, I am pleased to speak to you about the organizing power of the League and how we work to build community and political power by emboldening every extraordinary advocate, and that's everyone, to gain the knowledge and skills they need to mobilize and lead. This has been the work of the League since our founding and continues on the ground today through our local leagues. One way the League of Women Voters in New Jersey is organizing is by participating in the One Person, One Vote campaign. Just as the League of Women Voters mobilized for a more representative government by fighting for the vote for women, we continue to use our power to speak out for a democracy where all our voices are heard. Since 1970, the League of Women Voters has advocated for the abolition of the Electoral College, a system that continues to undermine the principles of representative government and racial equality. The Electoral College was created as a compromise between legislators who wanted Congress to choose the president and those who wanted the people to choose directly. This allows states of the former Confederacy to rule themselves, and they quickly started passing Jim Crow laws meant to disenfranchise Black Americans. Unfortunately, the racist impact of the Electoral College didn't end with the passage of the Voting Rights Act. The Electoral College continues to suppress the vote of Black Americans. Data shows that states with a higher percentage of Black residents tend to have less power in the Electoral College, while states with wider populations tend to have more power. In states that are more than 85% white, it's about 400,000 people per each Electoral College vote. But in those states that are more than 15% Black, it's almost 650,000 people per electoral vote. That means it takes roughly 1.6 votes in states with high Black populations to equal 1 vote in states with higher white populations. Essentially, the bar changes. There is a lower bar in states that have a higher preponderance of white voters. The Electoral College not only makes some votes matter more than others, but also gives people a reason not to vote. It decreases voter turnout in so-called safe states like New Jersey. In fact, data from 2016 and 2020 show that voter turnout was lowest in safe states compared to swing states. Shouldn't this disconcerting fact motivate us to change the system by which we elect a president? In New Jersey, we are leaning into what we do best, which is organizing. We first held a statewide webinar to educate people about the Electoral College and the need to support a constitutional amendment to abolish it. From that webinar, we have engaged with additional organizations and individuals that are interested in helping educate others about a fight for a people-powered democracy. The League of Women Voters is a trusted source for factual information that people need right now, as we all grapple with attacks on our democratic values. Through campaigns like One Person, One Vote and other democracy-focused campaigns, the League plays a vital role in helping our country reimagine the democracy we all deserve. We owe it to ourselves, our children, our democracy, to work towards a more equitable and just system, Abolishing the Electoral College is crucial in a true representative democracy where every voice and vote counts like it should be. And as Celina said earlier today, we will not be controlled.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we saw that play out, right? 18 million people who voted in 2020 did not in 2024. That's a huge opportunity for us at the League, particularly given our work around elections. Alexa, I want to tap you in, our resident young voter guru, right? So I think that it would be lovely to hear from you about the power that young people have in this moment and this movement. Alexa.
Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Thank you, Celina. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexa Livingstone, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters in Baltimore. It is an honor to speak before you today to talk about something that is not just important, but essential for the future of our communities and our world. That thing is youth leadership and community organization. We often hear that young people are the leaders of tomorrow, but I want to challenge that idea. We need young leaders today. We need diverse representation of our communities. The value of collaborating those with a fresh perspective with those with experience and hard-earned wisdom is priceless. Right now, in schools, in neighborhoods, in cities across the world, young leaders are driving change, advocating for justice, and organizing their communities to solve problems that will impact us all. This impact was made on myself heavily when I attended the Youth Voter Power Initiative with the League of Women Voters in New Orleans. This conference allowed youth from all over the country with different political and leadership backgrounds to discuss ways that we can utilize relational organizing to educate and uplift our communities. When I attended the conference, a point that stuck out with me was that the 18 to 31 age demographic, within that demographic, at least 70% of voters received some kind of higher education. That means that there's a gross underrepresentation of youth in our communities who have not done so. I feel a great responsibility to help shift these numbers so that myself and my peers can learn how to make sure that our government is working for our community. The League of Women Voters has helped me with strategies to achieve this with local events such as the 411 voting initiatives and their partnership with Lush to attract and educate young voters on their options. In our current political climate, it is especially crucial that we learn to make a difference on all levels of government, as there has been so much fear-mongering in the media trying to convince us that our efforts towards democracy are hopeless. Those that attempt such tactics underestimate the power of youth leadership and organization. The climate movement today is powered by young voices demanding change. Many advocacies for mental health awareness, educational equity, and social justice are being led by students and young leaders who refuse to stay silent. But leadership is not just about standing at a podium or organizing protests. It's about taking action in any way possible, mentoring younger students, starting initiatives, volunteering, and using our voices in our schools and communities. Leadership is about responsibility, and the youth of this country are uplifted and empowered to carry this responsibility out in a world-changing way. Change does not happen without organization. Community organization turns good ideas into real impact. When people come together with a shared goal, they create power. We live in a time when many challenges threaten our communities: poverty, inequality, environmental issues, and more. But the good news is that we are not powerless. When we organize, when we connect with others who share our vision, we tap into that power. Thank you, League of Women Voters, and thank you all for helping us to move towards that future.
Thank you, Alexa, and thank you in particular for your point about the power of leadership now and leveraging wisdom. That is so critical, and we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And now, Beth Hendricks out of Colorado. Beth, you all are moving a state voting rights act in your state, and I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about that initiative.
Absolutely. There we go. Good morning and happy birthday. I'm Beth Hendricks, and I'm very pleased to tell you about the League of Women Voters of Colorado's efforts towards additional protections for voters through a Colorado Voting Rights Act. About a year and a half ago, we were contacted by both Common Cause and Harvard Law School's Election Law Clinic about collaborating on a state VRA. We enthusiastically accepted and began coalition building and discussing what components were needed in the act in Colorado. Our coalition is now 40 plus organizations strong. We have 3 main sponsors, all women of color, and we've added an additional 7 sponsors so far. The bill was introduced on the opening day of our legislative session as Senate Bill 25001, the Colorado Voting Rights Act. Of course, it provides additional protections against discriminatory voting rules and election practices. It creates a private cause of action. It increases the ability of communities of color to challenge unfair district maps that lead to vote dilution. And it empowers the Colorado Attorney General to enforce voting rights under the Colorado Voting Rights Act. Major components of the bill include protections for LGBTQIA+ voters against voting discrimination based on gender identity, expression, or sexual orientation. It improves access for those on tribal reservations, gives additional notices and support for individuals with disabilities, and improved language access at the municipal level, and improved election-related data collection. To give a little more detail, it provides improved access for those on reservations. Colorado has 2 reservations, and I'm sure you know that not every home has a traditional address recognized by the United States Postal Service. The act will allow voter registration using tribal council headquarters address or another address approved by the tribal council within each precinct. The tribal council may request voter service and polling centers on the reservation for election day and any number of days during the 15-day early voting period prior to election. To encourage better access for voters with disabilities, it will require organizations that receive state funds and primarily serve people with disabilities to display notices that include information on voter registration and voting rights and accessibility. It includes contact information for the the accessibility coordinator of the Secretary of State, and identifies the nearest drop-off location and voting service and polling center. It also must be written in plain language. We're looking to expand multi-ballot access at the county level per current Colorado law to include municipal elections. So qualifying counties include those in which 2,000 citizens 18 plus or 2.5% of citizens in the county speak English less than very well. What we're most excited about is additional elections-related data collection within the Department of State to assist political subdivisions with compliance of the Colorado Voting Rights Act, as well as election administration best practices and investigation of potential voting rights violations. It requires collection of election results data for all state and political subdivision elections to support the work of Colorado redistricting commissions. And it requires that data to be publicly available and retained for 12 years. LWVCO was a big part of this segment of the bill because we were so involved in getting independent redistricting commissions in our state. Of course, we had no idea how timely this bill would be in protecting Colorado voters. So I hope you'll reach out if you'd like to do the same in your state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. You know, so often we hear there's so much going on in the country, so much is coming at us, right? And it puts you in a defensive posture. And so this is really helpful to see the offensive stuff that folks can do. So the proactive things that people can do to get engaged in to push for healthy reform, great reform that will help so many voters in your state. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then I want to tap in Jennifer Rubin because there's a really interesting fight going on in your state around the state Supreme Court. You know, we think elections end on November 5th or shortly thereafter, but there are still things going on in North Carolina. I'm hoping that you can share what's going on in your state around the state Supreme Court.
Thank you, Celina. It's great to be with you. And on this anniversary of the League, we are defending democracy in North Carolina. I'm happy to tell you a little bit about our fight, and I'm going to give you a little bit of the details about this case because it's very important and the outcome of it could be very far-reaching. So Allison Riggs was an associate justice appointed to the North Carolina Supreme Court. She was up for re-election in 2024. She was opposed by Jefferson Griffin, who is a judge on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. On election night, Griffin led Riggs by approximately 10,000 votes. But when absentee and provisional ballots were counted, Riggs took the lead by over 700 votes. 2 recounts confirmed Riggs' re-election. But Judge Griffin sued. He asked the state Supreme Court to block the certification of Riggs' re-election and invalidate 60,000 ballots. Griffin said these 60,000 ballots that were cast during early voting or by absentee are invalid because the voter registration of these individuals lacked some required data. However, these were legally cast ballots submitted by voters who followed all North Carolina voting regulations and laws. And there is no suggestion that any of these 60,000 voters acted improperly. In addition, all in-person and absentee ballots this year were required to show a valid ID when they were voting, and all votes cast met that requirement. Griffin also challenged votes cast by overseas citizens and military service members who were not required to provide an ID. The North Carolina State Board of Elections reviewed the claims and concluded that Griffin's allegations lacked substance. The courts will now decide whether ballots that have been cast by voters who followed the law will be invalidated. After ping-ponging from district court, federal district court, back to North Carolina state courts, the Superior Court in North Carolina last week ruled against Griffin, siding with the State Board of Elections that his claims lacked substance. But he's appealing that case. The issue before the courts is whether a court can simply cast aside tens of thousands of appropriately cast ballots after an election is over. The League is in this fight. When the challenge was first made, we sent the list of 60,000 at-risk voters to our leagues and identified at least 24 League members and many supporters whose names are on that list. We worked with our LWVUS superstar attorney, Karen Short, and attorneys from Project Democracy to file an amicus brief, and we will be ready to file as a plaintiff as this case continues, arguing that this attempt to invalidate votes is illegal. The U.S. Constitution and federal laws prohibit ballots from being retroactively discarded. Our members are incensed, and we are committed to fight for our voters and speak out about the dangerous precedent-setting potential of this case and the implications for overturning elections everywhere. Coalition partners are holding rallies featuring voters whose ballots are at risk that begin this weekend and continue on to next week. And the League will be there. This is the kind of fight that our founders may not have envisioned 105 years ago, but they laid the foundation for us to stand up for our voters and the rule of law. And that's what we'll be doing. Thanks, Celina.
Thank you, Jennifer. So much important stuff came out of what your presentation, sharing the power of the League network, our ability to reach out to folks pretty quickly to see if our folks and voters that we work with would be impacting, but also the importance of counting every single vote. So thank you so much for your work in North Carolina. Last but not least, I want to tap in Nancy Flores. As we are thinking about what's happening in our country right now, there are so many fights against communities that we work with every day, arm in arm. And so I just want to tap in Nancy to talk about immigration and the human rights issues that's happening right now. Nancy.
Yes. Thank you, Celina. It's such a pleasure to join League of Women Voters on this really special day. I'm so inspired hearing the other speakers, and really being here today reminds me of what's possible when we unite. As you've heard from the other speakers, many of our communities are facing unprecedented attacks. And yes, these attacks have been relentless, but so has the response to defend immigrants. And that's what I want to talk to you all about a little bit. And PNA member organizations have really been on the front line of a lot of this defense. Our network is comprised of over 86 of the nation's leading immigrant and refugee advocacy organizations. And quite frankly, a lot of our organizations were made to respond to moments like this. So let me be clear, what immigrant communities in particular are enduring at this time is nothing short of violence. From the atrocities at the border to what we're seeing in our own backyards. We live in a country where a child that is younger than my preschool-age son can be picked up by an ICE agent and be made to face deportation. This is violence through policy. And what we need the general public to understand, and this is what you all can help us do, is that even if you're not an immigrant, what's happening in this moment will affect you, will affect Americans all across the country because of our interdependence and the way that our society is built. Immigrants are interwoven into so many aspects of our society, our economy, and our communities. So even in these really hard times, immigrant advocates are rising to the occasion, and immigrants themselves as well. Across the network, hundreds of thousands of immigrants have been trained through Know Your Rights workshops, and our members have canvassed their neighborhoods with information on how people can prevent interactions with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. And also giving them information around what legal avenues exist so that they may be able to adjust their status. In the absence of government protections, our members have turned to the systems we've created over the years of community-led operations that are vigilant and activated for the long run. While we're doing a lot of the work that is reaching many, we can't do this alone. And that's why I really am thankful for organizations and networks like the League of Women Voters for your partnership, because this is certainly a moment to come together. We know what we're up against. So what can we do? Allies, we need your solidarity. This is not a time to be bystanders. We all have a role to play, and I'm really excited that through our collaboration with the League of Women Voters, we've put together some resources that really share some tips on how to be an ally in this particular moment. We know that everything is changing very rapidly, and our reality today may be different 2 or 3 months from now. But what we're facing right now needs action and allyship now. So just to leave you here with 5 tips on how people that are not undocumented and that have US citizenship can be allies to the immigrant community in this moment. Number 1, get connected at the local level. We've heard from some really wonderful speakers about efforts that are happening locally. And a lot of that does also include immigrant communities. So there are a lot of ways for you to plug in. And I think that if you're tuning into this conversation, you probably already are plugged in locally with your league. And we'll be sharing a resource where you can get more information around immigrant advocacy organizations near you. The second point is getting familiar with this term that we're hearing everywhere, know your rights. KYR is the shorthand here. And this is really the best and first line of defense when somebody is facing an immigration officer. And these are based on our constitutional rights under the 4th and 5th Amendments. So these are rights that everybody has. We're just really highlighting them to immigrant communities so that they recognize that they have these rights and how to exercise them. The third point is around if you have these Know Your Rights materials, we would love for you to share them. You never know who may need them, whether that's on your social media or with friends, or if you're part of other organizations like schools or churches. This is really great and something that has proven to be beneficial and that has proven already to help people to avoid these interactions. And number 4, what to do if you witness something like a raid or immigration picking somebody up. So my husband and I have this conversation when we're out to dinner. What if somebody comes in to pick up a worker in the kitchen or somebody that is eating in the same restaurant where we are? There are some great tips in this document around what you can do if you witness a raid or a pickup by ICE happening. And the last or the 5th point here is around legal help. We need a lot of legal help. If you are a lawyer or a retired lawyer, there are some ways for you to plug in. And this would be a really, really wonderful way for you to plug in. So we leave you with that resource. And this is really the opening of a conversation, the continuation of a partnership. And thank you again to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to be with you all. And we are together and we are moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Just a reminder to folks who are watching now or choose to watch in the future, resources are in the chat, so you can see those. But Nancy, thank you for reminding us the importance of local community action, as well as reminding us that we are more similar than different. That's always an important thing for us to remember as people. I want to thank all of our speakers, including our National League President, Dianna Wynn, LWV of New Jersey President Jennifer Howard, LWV of Baltimore member Alexa Livingstone, LWV of Colorado Executive Director Beth Hendricks, LWV North Carolina President Jennifer Rubin, and Deputy Director at the National Partnership for New Americans, Nancy Flores. I want to thank the amazing Tay Powers for her music performance and getting us all ready to have this really great conversation. It's been powerful to stand in community with you all today and in the days ahead as we have work to do. Now, you've heard it from Dianna earlier. Our call to action today is to invite people in your personal circle to join the League of Women Voters at lwv.org/join. They can learn about league membership on our website and find their league to join online. But personal asks are always much more powerful when they come from someone that you know. So share with folks why you joined the league, ask them what they care about, and talk to them about how the league fights for democracy. We need their voice now more than ever. Thank you all for doing the amazing democracy work that you do every day. Both big and small actions always matter towards this greater good that we're trying to achieve. Happy birthday to the League of Women Voters. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you all are engaging in something or with someone or something that you love today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Happy birthday, League.